Hi, we are the ClaudeCodeCrew, and today we're presenting the AI-powered market research prototype. My name is Anderson.
My name is Andrew.
My name is Kennedy.
My name is Adam.
Okay, so market research usually forces a bad trade-off. It's either expensive and credible or fast and hard to trust. So our prototype is built to narrow that gap. What you're seeing right now is one complete run of the pipeline that we created, sped up from start to finish. The key point is that this is not just a fast AI output, it stays structured all the way through. It moves from pipeline execution to structured outputs, benchmark checking, and a final validation trail. In this run, we processed 90 respondents across 5 segments, used 3 models. The full run finished in 11 minutes, 55 seconds, and the cost was roughly $1.66. And this is what the real value here is. This is not meant to replace real market research. It's simply meant to narrow that what NEO should test next before committing real time and real budget. It gives a team a faster way to move from raw synthetic output to something more decision useful while keeping limitations visible instead of hiding them. That only works though because this is not just a one-shot prompt. Again, this is a structured 6-stage workflow: client discovery, customer interviews, survey design, synthetic responses, data analysis, and evaluation and grading part. It mirrors a real research process, so each output can be challenged instead of taken on faith. And because the run ends with synthetic versus real benchmark checks and a final audit trail, trust is part of the design, not simply an add-on.
And throughout the whole process, we go based off of personas to take these questions and surveys. We've created a config file and actually a UI in the front end to be able to allow the user to edit the personas, as well as the age and employment and things of that nature. This will allow the user to reflect the market that they want to test more accurately, and that makes the synthetic subject pool easier to challenge, refine, and rerun in a live ring.
And so this leads us to our first business insight for NEO, is that cost is the clearest friction point, but only directionally. And that direction matched both the real AYTM benchmark and our synthetic data as well. And so this synthetic data is actually overstated the magnitude by 20%, so 94.4% versus 59.7% in the real survey. So this is useful for deciding what to test next, but not strong enough to make a claim, a decision grade answer. And that is a limitation, but is also part of why the tool is credible. And so the next insight is where NEO should focus next. The property maximizer is the strongest follow-up segment from this run. The budget-conscious DIYer is the weakest fit and the most price-sensitive segment. And the message for NEO is that you should test next the practical value, which is permit light simplicity, fast installation, premium build quality, and financing clarity. So what makes that useful is the same practical story keeps showing up across the workflow. From the interviews to the segment output, homeowners want less hassle, clear value, and confidence that the structure feels premium.
Alrighty, and for this slide, this shows that it's not just a black box demo. There are many metrics that show you the reliability of the output of the AI models. And for these values, on our initial runs, we got low values, but we continued to test the variables on our project, and we found that initially we were measuring the wrong metrics. They were measuring separate persona AI responses, which is why the stamp survey metric is so low, but we've since improved it to accurately measure the model agreement, and the Krippendorf metric has risen to 0.29. And in our experiments running this pipeline, we discovered that these models are deterministic, and getting an exact match on the Krippendorf metric is impossible, since they're going to answer the Likert scores differently just based on probability. So we found that the Pearson correlation coefficient, or the model agreement value, is much more accurate as it averages direction of agreement between personas and models.
Okay, so for NEO, the value is knowing what to test next. First, you want to validate the segment by starting with property maximizer instead of treating all 5 segments equally. Second, test practical proof, cost justification, one-day installation, permit-like simplicity, build quality, and financing clarity. Third, keep the audit trail attached. So synthetic runs are used to shortlist what deserves real-world validation. Our prototype is faster, cheaper, transparent, and honest about its limits. And this is what we present for you today. And if you would like, we have a extra demonstration of the actual prototype as well.
Alrighty, so this is going to be our front end. This is our data analysis. There's many different metrics to show the distributions of the values. But the thing that I was most proud of here was the config file for the front end. It allows you to change the personas, the segments, even the benchmarks for the questions. And you could change the models as well as the survey schema and the profiles. There's a little bit of adjustment that needs to be done for the presentation of the data, but that is going to be our persona edit.